Just want to come outside, start showing you around a little bit. Just at towards the end of my driveway right now. We do have quite a long driveway, so my plan is to kind of walk you up, see what we have here. Still a lot of snow on the ground, so I won't be able to show you everywhere today, but at least we can start and kind of show you what we have around where we don't have as much snow. Definitely a little bit muddy, but that's okay. We got the rubber boots on to tromp through what we have to show you around. It's a lot warmer here, which is nice. Plus 14 today. We're about middle of March now, so definitely loving the warmer weather. I'm on holidays now, so this next week it is supposed to be around plus 15, plus 17 for quite a bit of it, so we should be able to get outside. I would love to start cutting some things down, just getting ready for spring, getting ready for doing some gardening as well when it does get a little bit warmer. It's supposed to rain a little bit today. Tomorrow's supposed to be quite rainy, which will be actually a positive because that means we can get rid of more of the snow, and it's not going below freezing at night right now, so even overnight it's starting to melt snow and we're waking up to large puddles. But anyways, let's show you around. Alrighty, so I am behind the camera now. So the way we're pointing right now is actually out towards the road. So kind of where you can see if I can point to it with my finger. Those two larger trees right there, that is the end of our driveway. So as you can see, quite muddy, quite puddly. But we'll turn around, we'll start walking up, and I can show you kind of what our view is coming up every day. Lots of field to the left and the right of us. We really haven't been anywhere over to the right of the driveway, just too hard to get into. We do have a smaller tractor, but just with the amount of trees that are there, we can't actually get through. To the left here, I'll pan over in just a sec. Once we get through these trees, we have been over on that side. Not so much last year, but we were the first year that we were actually on the property. Did cut down some trees, but what we found is there's a lot of holes in that property. We believe it used to be old cow pasture at one time, and as nice as it is, I'd love to get in there. It's just not that easy, so we might try again this year. We'll have to see. The grass does grow up quite high in the summertime, so it's harder to get in there. If you hear some buzzing around my head, we actually have some honeybee on the property here. Not ours, and I'll pan over to them in just a second. We're actually a host property for someone that takes care of all these bees for us. And actually, not even for us, it's their bees. We do get some honey from them in the summer, which is nice, but there's about 40 hives there. We'll see if we can get a little bit closer because they are definitely out. They know it's warmer weather now. Yeah, so here they are. See if we can hear them buzzing around. So yeah, so the people that take care of those bees, they do come on a regular basis throughout the summer, collect the honey. As we're coming up here, so normally this pathway is the way that I take. Tucker and I go for a lot of walks. It's kind of a loop around from our driveway up to our house. Obviously we have a lot of snow there, so won't be able to take that pathway today. But if we go over to the left here, you can see, if I get the camera up high enough, we have a big hayfield right there. Again, obviously our hayfield, but we have a farmer down the road that takes care of these fields. We offered to him when we first moved in because we are not farmers. We never have been. We don't have the equipment to be able to do anything with it. So we offered him to come take a look at it. He came, took a look at it, liked what he saw. So he comes down. Him and his son actually take care of the 3 fields. We have about 25 acres of hayfield. He has a dairy farm down the road from us, so he takes the hay in, obviously food for his animals. To the right, nice big open field here. Again, really don't do much with it. It's home to a lot of wild turkeys, so I do walk this area in the summer and really just collect feathers. It's fun to come out here. Tucker and I, he likes to run around, get all the smells of the wild animals that go through here. We have noticed, I haven't seen it lately, we did have a wolf coming down our driveway not too long ago. Was definitely leaving a lot of markings. going to the bathroom on our driveway, that sort of idea. Luckily haven't seen him in the last couple of weeks, so hopefully we don't see him anymore, because I really don't want him around the area, especially with Tucker. Obviously we do let him run around on the loose with us outside, so I don't ever want him to tackle with the wolf. But yeah, so as we're coming up, you can kind of start seeing our house now, right at the end of the driveway. A lot of these trees along the side, we do want to trim back. They are quite overgrown. That was a plan that we had last year, and we just never got to it. So hopefully this year we can get out here and start cutting down some of these trees. Majority of the trees that we have on the property are red cedar. So really all that does is it breeds a lot of horse flies and deer flies. When we come up through the driveway in the summertime, we actually have to roll up our windows because the deer flies are so thick. So right to the left we have a smaller barn right beside the big barn there. This is a project that we actually started last year, so it is stripped of the boards that were on the outside of it. There was a lot of barn board on the outside that, again, just old. They were worn down. They were starting to fall off for the most part. So we just took it down. The roof is still in good condition. Obviously older, a little bit rusty, but that's okay. There's no leaks that we can see up at the top. What we're hoping to do this year is actually wrap it. So we do have some house wrap that we had from last year. So we're gonna try and wrap it this year. Actually put some siding on there. We don't know if we want to do more of a boarded batten or if we're just gonna do some metal sheet siding. Not sure about that yet, but I'll show you inside here. We believe this used to be an old pig barn. So last year you can see some of our tools still in there. What you see on the floor right there was the divider between the two stalls. Towards the back here there's a bit of a door, so with a ramp going out. So we believe that was probably how they got in and out of the back portion of the barn. We've torn it down, but in behind, I'll show you here in a second, there was a fence. So that just makes sense. We have the feed box there. So we'll see what we can do with it this year. Definitely a big project, but something that we started to tackle last year and we want to continue on doing this year. So this is just coming in behind that little barn there. Again, out there, that's another big hay field. And obviously you can't see right now, despite that there's no leaves on the tree. But actually beyond these trees, there is another chunk of the hay field there as well. So between those three, that's what makes up the 25 acres in total. So you can see sort of some of the old siding that we haven't been able to take down as of yet. So this is going to be springtime project. And that's what was around the entire barn, what you see at the top there. So definitely a little bit more work to go before we can start wrapping it with the house wrap. We also have to figure out what we're going to do at the bottom. So there's a big gap here. We don't know what the best course of action is going to be, other than we cleaned out the straw and what was left of the old manure that was in that barn. Also cut down this big tree. We have a lot of prickly, thorny ash around, so a lot of what is right in front of the camera here, just spindly little trees, but they do have quite sharp thorns, so it's hard to get in there, and they do become thick brush as well. So a lot of work to do. We have a lot of this fencing around the property as well, which is just sort of that older wooden fencing, so might be able to reuse some of this into gardens for this year. That would be the hope anyways. What I can show you here, I'm not going to go right into the field, but sort of that field all in behind what I'm pointing at right now, that is what I attempted to make into my vegetable garden last year. I had high hopes, like I do every year. Didn't really work out the way I had hoped. Actually, well, let's take a walk. The snow is not too bad over here right now, so what I had hoped was for sort of all of this area to be garden, and what ended up being my garden, we did get some vegetables out of it last year, is basically this strip right down the center of the camera here. So that was what I had for vegetables. Now the problem with this spot here, that thorny ash that I was just mentioning, this area was just filled with it. We did cut down quite a bit, but as you can see where my garden used to be, we have a whole lot growing. So I can kind of show you here if I can get it to focus on. There's all the thorns that are on these trees. So quite large, very, very sharp. And they just catch on everything. They catch on your clothing, on your skin. I was actually just in the bush not too long ago and already got a big scratch down my hand because of them. So unfortunately, we didn't get a lot of the veggies. It's kind of the leftovers of my sunflowers that were there. They did really well, so we just left them be and let the birds have the seeds for the fall, getting ready for the winter. So as we pan around, a lot of other trees here. This is what we had started cutting down, and now you can see sort of all the little ones starting to grow back up. So it'd be nice to be able to clear this land for something in the future. I'm not sure exactly what we're going to use it for. Not this past year, but the year prior. We actually tried to put a skating rink out here. Bit of a failed attempt. Didn't work out the way we had hoped. So we didn't actually get to skate on it at all at that time. And we did have a second attempt this year, and I'll show you where that was. But again, we got the good ice, and then it started snowing, and we just didn't clear it regularly. So unfortunately, we didn't skate on it this year either. So we had good intentions. It definitely came further than it did the year prior. It was quite big, so we were pretty excited about it. The only downside is we made a couple of errors. A, the boards aren't tall enough, and two, it just wasn't level enough. So a lot of the water, you can kind of see where the snow still is in the back corner there, back right corner. That's kind of where all the water went, so just wasn't level. And then, like I said, it filled up with snow, and we got lazy and we didn't shovel it off anymore. So maybe next year, maybe the third time's a charm for next year's rink. I don't know if we'll move it or we'll try and keep it in the same spot, just maybe put some higher boards up and see if we can collect a little bit more water than we were able to this year. But yeah, I guess pretty soon we'll have to take it down. We'll have to let it melt out, let the sun do his job, and evaporate some of that water that's in there, and then we can pack it up for another season. So where we are now, we're just in behind the big barn. I just walked around the back. So this is one of the big hay fields, and then just past that tree line is the other big chunk of hayfield that we have. I come out here a lot in the evenings in the summertime, and I'm sure I'll capture a few this year. This is where the sun sets, so it is absolutely gorgeous in the summertime when that sun is setting. You have a clear sky past that tree line horizon. Sometimes we get some really nice orange skylines, and it's really, really pretty. So that is the back of the big barn. I'm not going to go through the fields. It's just a little too muddy to get in there right now, but hoping to clear out a lot of the trees that you see in behind the barn as well. We have another barn to the left. I'll show you a better picture once we get in the front, but that one is actually leaning quite a bit. We don't use it for anything. A lot of what's in that barn right now is what came with the property when we purchased it. But what is back here, and kind of why I'm standing where I am right now, is we have a big pond at the back. And as you can see, again, very overgrown. We had hoped when we first moved in, because when we moved in it was this time of year, there's a lot of water in here. So we thought this would be awesome to make into a skating pond, a skating rink, because it's nice and big. Connor loves to skate around, play some hockey, that sort of idea. But as it gets warmer, water drains out of here. We have a lot of big trees, a lot of big poplar trees that just absolutely suck the water out of this little pond that we have. So it dries up very, very quickly as the sun comes out and starts drying up. So unfortunately, even though there's a little bit of water in here now, that will be gone very, very soon. Before we know it, it'll be dried up, and we could almost get in there, which actually is a good thing. We could get in there, start clearing out some of the brush that's in there. We have thought about maybe putting a liner in there at some point. That way it will hold the water, and cutting down a lot of those trees around it to eliminate it sucking the water away on us. So future goals, future projects for sure. There's a lot that we want to do. It's just getting the time to do it is the biggest thing for us. So there's kind of the side of that barn. Around the property too, what we found, because it used to be farmed many years ago. I don't even know if it was the previous owners or if it was the owners prior to them even. So you can see a lot of sort of old farm equipment that is left all around. So there's a lot of things that we've come across already, a lot of metal that we've come across, just not usable anymore. So we have taken a lot to the metal scrap yards and that sort of thing. So again, this barn is on its way out. We were hoping that we could have maybe used some of this old siding and put it on the other barn that needs it, but the barn board itself is just way too old, very thin. It was never really taken care of, so I don't know if we'll be able to see inside. It is quite dark in here, and unfortunately I don't have a light on my phone. But as you can see, just sort of a lot of junk in here. There was old stoves. There's some old wood stoves. I don't know if I'm going to come across any animals because they do live in here. There's a lot of bunnies that come in here over the winter. But there's also a lot of neat things. There's a lot of old jars. We came across quite a few old bottles, old pop bottles. So again, bit of a project. There is an upstairs to this barn as well that has a lot of interesting things up there. So we've actually had a couple people come over and take in a couple really old bookshelves that were up there. They wanted to take them and restore them, so we said have at her. We weren't going to do anything with it, so we were happy to let them take them away. So kind of in behind here, we'll see if we can get back here. This is where I would like to put my garden for this year. So it's a little bit flatter land. There was no trees here. None of the trees, those thorny trees that were on the other piece of property. A lot of uneven ground here, so it is still going to be a challenge. But essentially, this area is what I'm hoping to turn into our raised garden beds this year. Lots of space to be able to do it. As we get into the springtime, just in behind that tree there's a nice big rhubarb patch. So we have some well-established rhubarb. The folks that lived here before, I believe, definitely like gardening as well. You can see a lot of flowers coming up. A lot of tulips, a lot of perennials that come up in random spots. Where I'm kind of pointing right now, you can't see it because it is so overgrown. This was my project that I wanted to start last year, and I did barely start it, didn't get very far with it. There's actually an old foundation from the original farmhouse that was on this property. It actually burnt down in the early 90s, and the house that we live in now is the house that the owners built after their house burnt down. So unfortunate circumstance for sure. So we're really hoping that we can clear kind of this out. You can see that stone wall there. So that is part of the old stone foundation of the original farmhouse. And where I'm standing right now, obviously snow still on the ground, but this will pop up really beautiful flowers in the springtime. So looking forward to seeing those again. And as you can see in behind, back of the house here for us right now. So I think this is where I'm going to end this video. We'd like to get out to the front. Once the snow starts clearing, we'll get into more into the bush, and I can show you around there.